Hello everybody. The last video was about default constructors, and we saw that we can write one explicitly like this public bank account. It doesn't have any meaning here because you're not initializing nothing, but we can write it, and sometimes it's a good practice if you have hierarchies in your code. And we have a savings account which has a default constructor also. It is called savings account like this one, but you don't have to write it. Java provides one to you by default. And that this is the reason we can create a bank account here and a savings account. And you can see that there is no code inside this class, but we can still use the new savings account. Now, what I want to show you today is what happens when I add a new constructor to a class. And let's say I put public bank account. Let's say customer ID. Why not this customer ID? Customer ID. Okay, and we can create another bank account here. Let's say BA2 and pass some customer ID. And it's okay, I can use one or the other without any problems. Now, what happens if I add the constructor here and say public savings account, and let's say double an initial balance and some logic here, not important for this video. And what happens here? You can see that there is an error. Say, okay, add argument to match savings account double. The error is because this constructor was just removed. Maybe it's not correct to say remove it, but it was not implicitly given as before. And what is the reason? Usually these kind of reasons um, are about semantics or business analysis of the code, sometimes even algebraic. But if you think for a while, imagine that you have uh, uh, this bank account and you say, okay, if I'm creating this constructor string customer ID, what I'm telling is to my code is, okay, to create a bank account, I really need a customer ID. So if I really need the customer ID, probably I don't want anymore this constructor. And the same applies here. If I'm creating a constructor, say I need an initial balance to create the savings account, maybe the default constructor doesn't make sense anymore. You can see this. Imagine that you have a GPS coordinates. Do you think it's, if you have a class for a GPS, you think it makes any sense to have a constructor, an empty constructor? So I'm creating a coordinate, but without values. Maybe from some technicalities, maybe it is useful, but usually you don't want that, because if you create a point, a GPS, a coordinate, you really need the initial values. And I think this is the reason why the implicit constructor is removed, to avoid this kind of side effects, like creating a point that doesn't have any coordinates, any values. It doesn't make any sense. Um, okay, and that's it about adding other constructors to the class. On the next videos, I'll talk about chaining the constructors, what happens when a constructor wants to call another constructor, about immutable classes and other things around the constructors and the hierarchies in our code. I hope you like it. See you in the next video.